What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City video. Today we're going to be doing a transfer update, in particular speaking about the latest developments that's been happening with Leroy Sane. But first, before we crack on with that, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content and you want to help support my channel, then subscribe, press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. We're aiming for 6,000 subscribers, so any help towards that will be much appreciated. You can also find my social media links there in the description below too. If you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram, they're also popping up on screen. If you want to go and search for me and follow me on there, that'd be much appreciated. Don't forget also my email's in the description below. If you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries, then please feel free, because we will be doing daily Manchester City transfer updates when the summer transfer window does eventually start. And also, don't forget, leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So without further ado, let's crack on with this transfer update. We'll start off with the ins like always, and we've got an update on Lucas Martinez Quarta. I hope that's how you say his name. But Manchester City, they're still interested and Nicolas Otamendi's name was being chucked out there with a potential swap deal involved with him going over to River Plate in Argentina. Now, there's a €23 million valuation on Quarta. I'll be honest with you, I would have thought that City would be able to get a little bit more than £20 million for Nicolas Otamendi, but I would like to know your thoughts of this transfer in the comments below. It would make sense for Manchester City wanting to make space in their squad to bring in a non-homegrown player. So swapping a player that's non-homegrown for another in the same position too kills two birds with one stone. Argentinian, both of the players, it makes sense. Nicolas Otamendi, brought up in Argentina, gets to go back home. I'm not sure how much of a desire he's got to go back home, but there we go. But also, apparently Nicolas Otamendi is fond of River Plate too. I don't know how true that is, but I've heard that apparently. So that's why this is floating around, doing the rounds. I mean, I'd say it's unlikely that Nicolas Otamendi would leave Manchester City to go to River Plate in a swap deal involved with €23 million, but I could be wrong. But I will say one thing though about Quarta. He's an interesting player. He's a player that City are definitely interested in having a look at potentially bringing in. He's the right age, 23 years old. He's wanting to move over to Europe to go and prove himself over there, so it would make sense for him to go and target a high caliber club. City are looking for potential centre-backs, players that aren't necessarily well heard of. We're looking for one potentially world-class centre-back and a player that's relatively unknown, and Quarta would fill in that void that City are potentially looking for. I'll keep my eyes and ears open for developments with regards to this transfer. Now we're going to move on and speak about Jadon Sancho. We've had an update on him. Borussia Dortmund, they're confident that he's going to stay at Dortmund this for the upcoming season, for next season, and they don't want to sell, and they're confident that he'll stay at Borussia Dortmund. Manchester City, of course, have shown interest in the past in bringing Jadon Sancho back to Manchester City. However, Leroy Sane looking more and more likely that he will be leaving Manchester City means that there will be a winger that City do need to sign. And Leroy Sane being a world-class player, City have been looking for potentially a world-class winger to bring in, and Jadon Sancho would make sense. He's homegrown by the club, he's homegrown for England too, so he fills our homegrown quota for us. That's much desirable for Manchester City, in particular if Angelino does leave Manchester City. And by the way, I've not got an update on Angelino, but I have got a little bit of an update on Upamecano with regards to Angelino, which I'll speak about in just one moment. But it would fill that void too, and the transfer would make sense. However, City would have to break their transfer policy to bring in Sancho. He'd be a very expensive transfer, and of course this is floating around because Manchester United are showing a strong interest in bringing Jadon Sancho back to Manchester, but to the red side rather than the blue side. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with regards to the transfer. The transfer would need a big fee, and I just don't see City going towards it. In my opinion, City, they seem to be allergic in going for excessive fees. And by the way, the word excessive there is open for interpretation for what you regard City and excessive as, but I just don't see us spending maybe over £70 million for any player. That includes wingers and attackers and strikers in that. And so City, they like to be prudent in the transfer market, but they're going to have to be not sensible, but they're going to have to just break their policy a little bit to sign players in the position. Like, they're looking for a world-class centre-back, and in my opinion, world-class centre-backs, they cost a lot of money. Like, I'm talking more than £70 million, so City want that. they're going to have to break their policy to do that. But City do know if they do that once, they're probably going to have to do it more often than not, and so that's why City do not want to do that. Now, a little bit of an update on Upamecano and Angelino. It's not an official transfer or anything, but Upamecano apparently still not signed his new contract at Red Bull Leipzig. Arsenal have shown a lot of interest. They're willing to bid around £40 million. City have shown some interest, but nothing more than that. But I've just come up with my own things. Angelino, more than likely, Leipzig won't be able to afford to pay to sign him in the summer, but they do have the option to bring him in for £25 million. And it would make sense that City could use that and pay maybe £20–25 million and bring in Upamecano and swap Angelino, and we save a little bit of money and we do bring in a very good centre-back in Upamecano. So just throwing that one out there for opinions. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments below. So we're going to move on to the outs now. We're going to speak about Jadon Sancho. This is interesting. 90 Minutes, who aren't the most reliable of sources, but what they were saying is quite interesting. They're reporting that Newcastle United's new owner, they want homegrown talents brought into Newcastle. They want to build their team up, and it seems to want to build up from the back, because they've been linked with Jadon Sancho, and they want to bring Jadon Sancho in as their top priority for bringing in a defender. Apparently, found this interesting, City valuing Jadon Sancho at £40 million, which is of course a £10 million loss on what we paid for Jadon Sancho, paying £50 million. And if I'm honest, £40 to £50 million does sound about right. I mean, £40 million is the bare minimum that I'd be looking for Jadon Sancho. And while his confidence is shot, he's still an England international. He's a very good centre-back. He's a good ball-playing centre-back. Just needs a bit of confidence. I mean, he is a very good centre-back, and I'd be looking for Newcastle, if they're coming in with planning to pay £40 million, I'd want a little bit more. But yeah, we'll just speak about contracts very quickly. Lots of interest coming in for Kevin De Bruyne from lots of big European clubs. Manchester City, they want Kevin De Bruyne on a new contract. They're working on that. He's currently got a contract until 2023, and apparently rumours going around that Manchester City, they're prepared to break their wage structure to make Kevin De Bruyne stay and commit long-term to Manchester City. Interest coming in from Barcelona, Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain. I imagine Real Madrid and everyone else will more than likely be interested should Kevin De Bruyne wish to express an interest of leaving Manchester City. He's a world-class player, and City want to keep their top players, and that includes Kevin De Bruyne. And apparently City want to put in a sweetener there and make De Bruyne their captain too. Of course, David Silva was made the captain for a season till he leaves. Long-term, not great for Manchester City with that. De Bruyne signing a new contract, made captain, would long-term secure the captaincy at Manchester City and also be a big boost to City. So yeah, keeping an eye on that one. Fingers crossed, like literally all my fingers crossed, that Kevin De Bruyne signs a new contract. World-class player. I want him to stay at Manchester City for many, many years, not just until 2023. Now, let's speak about Leroy Sane. Now, there was some fake news going around at Sport Bild over in Germany, who apparently City are concerned that they're purposely putting out stories because they're told to by Bayern Munich, and it's a way, we dealt with this last summer, it's a way of Bayern Munich tapping up Leroy Sane, and City don't like it. I mean, Bayern Munich's manager even spoke about Leroy Sane, and they had to apologise for it, and yeah, it's a bit of a dodgy, strange transfer, and I've just been doing my research and digging around, and Bayern Munich fans are saying that City tapped up Rodri with Pep making a phone call to him and stuff, which, yeah, I mean, without being biased or anything, I don't think that's right in being able to do that either. I think you should agree a fee. The only difference is that Rodri had a release clause and City were willing to meet that release clause. So City were willing to pay to bring Rodri in. Whereas, I'd be more than happy for Bayern Munich to speak to Leroy Sane if Bayern Munich were willing to pay what Manchester City wanted for Leroy Sane. Then I'd say, okay, Leroy Sane is not signing his new deal. He doesn't want to stay at Manchester City. He wants to go to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are willing to pay the price. Transfer done. And we go from there. Now, the biggest problem we've got in this stumbling block is not Leroy Sane. Apparently, the rumours going around that he'd agreed a 5-year deal. He's going to become a very well-paid player at Bayern Munich on more money than what he would be at City. At Bayern Munich, even after, if he signed a new contract, he'd still be on more money. Loads of crazy rumours going around saying that Bayern Munich players have talked to Leroy Sane and turned his head and everything. But this has been going on now for well over a year. I mean, someone just having a couple of comments to you doesn't stir someone's head, because apparently Leroy Sane last summer was going to sign a new contract at City before he he spoke with some of his German counterparts over in the German national team that play for Bayern Munich, and then it turned his head. I mean, it's crazy. That's not how it works. And so that's how I know these things, like 2 + 2 are equaling 5 here, and it's just basically fake news. So I just want to address what is happening with Leroy Sane. The simple situation is, listen to Manchester City's sources, and I do know some very reliable sources at Manchester City, and so I follow them on Twitter and pay attention to everything that's happening. So this is where I'm heading with the story, and this is where I'll be heading throughout all of the summer with every transfer that we have, not just Leroy Sane, but I do listen to elsewhere just to try and get ahead and see what's happening, the developments and stuff. But with Leroy Sane, it's far exceeded that. It's got to a point where just listen to any source that's close to Manchester City, because at the end of the day, City are the selling club here. Leroy Sane will be sold by Manchester City, but it'll only be sold, the word coming in from the club, will be sold for the right price, and City are more than happy to keep the contract on offer to Leroy Sane. It's still on the table. If Sane wants to sign and commit to Manchester City, he can, and commit to City, he can, but at the end of the day, we've just got to listen to what City's sources are saying, and they're saying that they're happy if Bayern Munich don't want to pay our price to keep Leroy Sane until the end of next season, where he'll be free then to leave Manchester City. When his contract gets to less than 6 months left, he's free, no longer tapping up, he's free to talk to any club outside of England. That includes Bayern Munich, so they can start negotiating to bring Leroy Sane in on a free contract. And should it get to less than 6 months left on his deal, I guarantee you now, Bayern Munich won't pay a fee. They will sign him for free. They like doing that. They're in contact with Leroy Sane. They're in contact with his agent, and I imagine that Bayern Munich will be at least a little bit in contact with Manchester City, but relations, they're tarnished at the moment with Bayern Munich and Manchester City. Considering we've had good ties with what's happening with Pep Guardiola, it is frustrating, but this seems to be how Bayern Munich are in the transfer window, and Bayern Munich do like to do this in Germany and bully clubs around and sign players, and they're trying to do the same with City. So is there anything City can do? There's two options. They can just run Leroy Sane's contract down, utilise him for another season, and if he does happen, I would like to see Leroy Sane, by the way, as part of our first team squad. He's too good a talent to not have in our first team squad. It is what it is. Obviously, if that's getting in the way of development of other Manchester City players, I'd like to see them develop rather than a player that refuses to commit. That's just how it is. But also with Leroy Sane, the situation is Bayern Munich need to pay the money. Now, the source that was saying, and this is where all the angers come from, is they're prepared to pay €40 million. They deposited €40 million to one side, ready for that transfer. That's roughly £35 million. Now, people might be reading too much into it. That might just be one of 2 or 3 installments that they're prepared to pay City, and that's how transfers are. They don't just give, say if they were going to pay £80 million, they don't just bank transfer £80 million. It's broken down into installments. They pay a little bit now, in a year's time they pay a little bit more, and this eases the finances with clubs. And trust me, with the pandemic that's going on, by the way, I hope everyone is keeping safe and well at this difficult time, it's going to make transfers even more difficult, and Bayern Munich want to utilise that and say, actually, Leroy Sane, he hasn't played any football this season. Leroy Sane, in terms of transfer fee now, he's only got 1 year left on his deal instead of 2 like last summer. City wanted over £100 million, was quoted as wanting £137 million at one stage. That value now has decreased, and Bayern Munich now, with the current climate, value him. The source was saying at around £35 million, which is just way below what they're paying, and it's a bit iffy on the source. It might just be one deposit, like I said, and they're prepared to pay more in instalments. We'll have to wait and see. But for City, clearly they want more money. Rumour is City want roughly around £80 million. Bayern Munich are not willing to pay £80 million. Now, this could go one of two ways. City have got interest, by the way, in left-back David Alaba. Now, they could negotiate with David Alaba and Leroy Sane. They get Leroy Sane. We get a great left-back who could play centre-back, who could play defensive midfield too. Worked with Pep Guardiola before. I can work with that. I'm more than happy to work with that. I'd say that's unlikely, though, because David Alaba does not want to come to England, and so it's unlikely. But it is a breakthrough in negotiations if they can't agree on fee here. They could potentially use a player, and City could speak with Alaba and try and convince him. Possibly, I do not know, because I don't know what City are planning to do with the left-back situation. Or City can just drum up interest from other clubs. Now, And speaking of other Premier League clubs, I know full well that Leroy Sane wants to go back home to Germany and wants to sign for Bayern Munich. And so other Premier League clubs come calling. Bayern Munich could do either pay more money and sign him or walk away. Leroy Sane probably won't sign for the other Premier League clubs, but they could just drum up a little bit of interest. And I'm saying this because Juventus, PSG, even though City would be reluctant to negotiate with them, but I'm talking also Barcelona in particular and Real Madrid too. They could draw up some interest there. Now, if Barcelona or Real Madrid come calling for Leroy Sane and they're willing to pay more than Bayern Munich, I guarantee Leroy Sane will at least listen to the offer. They're elite clubs. Bayern Munich, fantastic club. World-class club. Prestigious club. No doubt about it. But so are Real Madrid, so are Barcelona. They've got a pulling factor. And if you offer Leroy Sane the chance to sit on the left wing whilst you've got Messi sitting either in attack or on the right wing, Leroy Sane ain't going to turn that down. I guarantee that to you right now. And City have very good working relations with Barcelona. And we've not got too bad working relations with Real Madrid either, now that I put that out there. We've got more of a disagreement with UEFA rather than other clubs, but that is what it is, and there's politics involved with PSG. But that's it. But we could work with Real Madrid too, and I can guarantee if Real Madrid were willing to spend more money than Bayern Munich on Leroy Sane, City would accept the offer. And again, Leroy Sane, guarantee it right now, would at least listen to what Real Madrid have to say. And this is where I'd be going with the transfer. I'd be saying to Barcelona and to Real Madrid to say, for Leroy Sane, do you want him? You know, just to get a bit of interest out there. His agent, Leroy Sane, said there's more interest over than Bayern Munich, so we'll have to wait and see. There's going to be lots of developments. My stick to listen to the sources at Manchester City. City want £80 million. Bayern Munich at this moment in time don't even want to pay £40 million. We're at loggerheads here. We're £40 million short here. This is going to go on all summer, but I'll keep you up to date every step of the way. So there we go. That has been the video. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you slap a like on the video. Leave a thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed the video. And don't forget, leave your thoughts in the comments below of these transfers and the Leroy Sane situation. What would you do if you was in charge at Manchester City with regards to Leroy Sane? And don't forget also, subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell and put your push notifications on. Aiming for 6k subscribers. Any help towards that will be much appreciated. Don't forget also to check out my social media links, Twitter and Instagram, in the description below. And popping up on screen, my email also in the description below if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Another long video, but there's lots to talk about. I'll see you all again for the next video. So I've been JSGC. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Hope you're staying safe and well too in these difficult times. Happy bank holiday too. Peace. Ciao for now. VE Day as well. Yeah. Thank you to everyone that did serve and everything there. Big celebrations. Going to go and enjoy myself.